Hey there, I'm Aramis and I am a solo indie game developer. Now, one of the biggest lessons I've learned while making my newly released game Chess Survivors is to take design inspiration from your favorite games. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I decided to use the core structure from one of the best deck building roguelike games of all time, Slay the Spire. So in today's video, let's dive into the design of Slay the Spire and talk about the relic system and why it's so dang good from a design perspective. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, give your cat some chin scritches. If you could do me a huge favor, go hit that like and subscribe button and maybe just leave a small comment about my lovely little mustache here. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the gameplay in Chess Survivors has nothing to do with cards or deck building, but that doesn't mean I still can't take inspiration from Slay the Spire. You see, my game is also a true roguelike where each run the player starts with the same starting conditions with the goal of assembling a powerful build from random loot. Now, true roguelikes live or die by their replayability because there is typically no meta power progression, which means a failed run can ultimately feel like a waste of time. I imagine this is why many games lean into becoming roguelites and add in some sort of meta progression system so that each run the player has some sort of tangible progress that they've made. But let's leave the roguelike versus roguelite conversation for a different video. So if replayability is so important, it begs the question, how do you actually design a game with good replayability? And I found this a surprisingly hard question to answer, especially because, again, I'm a novice game dev and designer, which gave me a perfect excuse to do quote unquote research by playing a ton of Slay the Spire, which ultimately allowed me to really fundamentally understand how the Mega Crit devs actually pulled off such a deep amount of replayability. And I came to the conclusion that that is largely due to the relic system. But to understand why that is, first we need to take a step back and understand fundamentally how does Slay the Spire function as a game. In Slay the Spire, the player starts by picking one of 4 characters, each with their own loot pool of cards and relics, plus some shared cards and relics across all of the characters. During the run, the player is prompted after each combat encounter to optionally add one of 3 cards to their deck. This happens around 30 to 40 times, and as such on any given run, you'll see a majority of the cards, which could become stale on its own, but that is where the relic system comes in. Generally, the player finds a relic after killing elites, bosses, or opening a chest collecting somewhere between 5 and 15 relics by the end of the run. So not only does the player find fewer relics than cards, but the relics are also incredibly powerful or straight up nutty because of some of the synergies between relics and cards. For example, take these 3 relics which grant temporary block during my first 3 turns. For those who don't know, block, well, blocks incoming damage, but it is removed at the start of the next turn. And then you can find this card Barricade, which turns that block into more permanent defense, which allows me to stack all of that block from those relics really early in combat, making me a thick boy. Pretty cool, right? And then if you're lucky enough to find a card like Body Slam, you can take all of that great defense and turn it into aggressive offense. And that's just one example. There are plenty of cards which can make this build even more powerful. So at its core, Slay the Spire is all about finding a build which takes full advantage of the synergies between the random relics and the cards the player collects during a run. Furthermore, the relic system enables each run to truly feel unique because relics are so rare and powerful, which means each run you're almost guaranteed to collect a different set of relics, pushing you to try different playstyles or find new and exciting builds. Now, if you can't tell by now, I absolutely love the relic system in Slay the Spire, so naturally I added it as one of the core design pillars to my game Chess Survivors. My implementation has a few key differences, but fundamentally it serves the same purpose, and in my humble opinion, it adds a lot of depth and replayability to my game. I highly recommend that you go check out Slay the Spire, or maybe even just go back and play one of your all-time favorite games. But this time, do it a little bit more critically. Think about the game designers and ask yourself, how did they come up with the gameplay experience that resonated so well with you? Taking inspiration from your favorite games is absolutely not copying. In fact, you'd probably be a fool for trying to reinvent the wheel yourself. So good luck out there and take care of yourself. Make sure to focus on long-term sustained progress over short-term games. I've been Aramis. Thanks for watching.